everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. I'm super excited to film this review because it has been so incredibly hard to get my hands on one of these TRD Pros. But anyways, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the truck, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A big shout out and thank you to Larry Miller Toyota here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Tacoma. Check out the inventory in the link below if you're in the market for a new Toyota. Let's get into the video. Under the hood here of the TRD Pro, we have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 22 on the highway. You can get an optional 4-cylinder, not on the Pros, but on the lower down trim packages, that gives you 180 horsepower and then 159 pound-feet of torque. And then you also can get this in a 6-speed manual. Now let's finish things up stylistically on the TRD Pro. You can see that we've got that massive hood scoop at the top. Really cool aesthetic on that. I've got the lights on so you guys can see. This is kind of funny. Yes, everyone's gonna know that you have a TRD Pro because it says Pro right there, illuminated with the daytime running lights. You've got the Toyota logo, and then you actually have the adaptive cruise control sensor there. You got the skid plate action going on just down below. You can see the little fog lights right there in that area. But overall, they have revised the lights for the front end. Definitely looks a lot better than the previous front end they had in the Tacoma. And here's actually a 2019 TRD Pro for, just so you guys can kind of like see comparison wise. And then just remember how this looks. I'll kind of like touch on points as I'm going over this truck as well. But just remember the rims and then the whole front end, everything that compared to the new one. The new one looks so much better. Now let's go over things on the side here of the TRD Pro. You can see that we've got 16-inch rims, 275mm tires in the front and in the rear as well. I like the little lug nuts that they've done here, how they're multicolored. That is a really cool look, and that's from the factory. You've got the fender flares that go around here down to the mud flap in the front, off-road side steps, TRD Pro badging there on the side, and then same setup in the rear with the fender flares, tires, rims, everything. And then here's one more look at the side profile of the TRD Pro. Here's the key fob for the Tacoma TRD Pro, and it actually comes with a couple functions. You're lock and unlock and remote start. To remote start, you just gotta press it, hold it down, and hope that you did it right, which I just did. And then it'll start right up. And you can hear that, and it actually is a side-mounted exhaust. Sounds pretty good for a V6. We'll get some revs later on. But then if you press that button again, that'll actually shut the TRD Pro off. Now let's go to the rear. Let's drop the tailgate first and foremost. You can see that it is slow, low, well, very, very slow lowering. And you've got the liner on the back here, and then in the bed as well. You got the cargo light up top with the sliding window. And then you actually do have a full outlet here in this little area, which is pretty cool. They give you that on the bed. And then here's kind of like a full view on the bed of the Tacoma while it's open. Now picking this up, it's actually really easy to get into place. And you can see it says Tacoma there on the back. You've got TRD Pro 4x4. You've got the receiver hitch just down below, and then the plugins for towing. And then over here, we have the taillights. It's full LEDs right here on that little part of the taillight. And then here is just one more look at the TRD Pro. And let's kind of go to a side angle so you guys can get a 3/4 angle on the truck. Now we've got the fuel door right there, and then something I forgot to mention is actually in the suspension here. You can see they've upgraded it obviously for the off-road, and then you can also see the tire tread with the TRD Pro. Now that that's all done, and that makes it like, it kind of like clicks, so like listen. Interesting. Now we can head to the back. Oh, well, I gotta unlock it first. Now actually coming to the back here, we've got some soft touch in this little area, one of the door handles, window control, and then you can see everything in the rear. Nice red contrasted stitching. The leather on it is actually pretty decent. You've got the nice padding here on the side, and then we can actually pull that down so there's extra storage behind the seat. And then a couple cup holders. Legroom in here is going to be a little bit more cramped, but you've got the rubber floor mats and all that, and it is a smaller size truck, so you got to expect that. And then got the Toyota first aid kit. Pretty cool. Keyless entry on the front, so one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, just put your hand on the back of the door handle. Now looking at the door panel here in the front, again, more of that soft touch. Got a couple window controls, your mirror adjustments as well, and then one of the speakers for the sound system. It says Tacoma TRD Pro right there, and then here are the seats in the front. You've got the TRD Pro at the top, red contrasted stitching, you've got the leather bolsters, fully power adjustable seats, and then the pedal layout that's just down below. You got the hood latch in that little area, cargo light, and then this is to turn on the power outlet, and then you can just put the automatic lights on right there. We'll go over this button in a minute. Stability control, and then the steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable, and here's one more look at the front. Now to start it up, just put our foot on the brake, push the push start. Gauges, we'll do a sweep, and it shows kind of like a little Tacoma right there. It says Tacoma, and boom, good to go. Now here is the steering wheel in all of its glory. We can zoom in, Toyota logo there on the center, and then this is for the center screen. We'll go over that in a minute. Pages button for that too. You've got your collision warning, lane departure assistance, your phone controls, and then your voice commands, and then your volume button for the radio, and then the cruise control is just hiding right there. Hey buddy. You've got the stitching on the inside of the steering wheel, and it's kind of like a really grippy steering wheel, which makes sense if you're going on the off-road and the steering wheel is going all over the place, which tends to happen when you off-road. Then you definitely want to have a good grip on it. This is the stock for the windshield wipers. That's the stock for the lights, turn signal, and then also to flash the high beams. Here are the gauges on the Tacoma. You've got the RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you have that center screen, which just gives you a couple different bits of information. And well, I mean, this car has no miles on it, so that's not accurate, but you can see there's a couple of different menus you can scroll through, give you different bits of information on the Tacoma, just like all of the other upgraded Toyotas. And I'm glad that it tells me distance till empty, so then I know how much time I've got left. I'm kind of showing this whole area so you can see the vents that are on both sides, because I think it's cool they're circular vents. But if we zoom in on the infotainment system, you got analog controls on the sides. Response time on them is actually pretty good. It's just like all of the other upgraded Toyotas. Again, you got the little map view for the navigation. But if we go to the menu, we can see all the controls. So for example, I'll just press some buttons so you guys can kind of see how it responds with the touch time on that. I feel like the response on the button time is pretty good. Cool, you got like an eco mode. That's, look at that. Shows us everything with fuel economy. That's pretty neat. But yeah, I feel like it's a good touchscreen. And last thing we got to go over is the backup camera. You do get a bird's eye view right there on the backup camera, and then you can kind of toggle between that and that view. The resolution on it is pretty decent. Definitely a little bit more on the old side, but gets the job done. Heated seats on both sides, dual zone climate in this TRD Pro. And then we've got all these little charging stations, and then this is actually for the rear window. We will go over that in a moment. You've got this for the parking sensors. You've got your power button right there, and then you've got your blind spot monitoring button, push start, and then this is your drive mode select in terms of, you know, if you want to be in two-wheel drive, four-wheel high, or four-wheel low. Now you guys thought I forgot about this button, but I didn't. So if we press this button, this will go on the touchscreen, shows the camera system. There's the camera for the front, by the way, and then that is also on the top view, and then you got camera for the side view. It is a little bit limited with the visibility on it, but I mean, it's better than nothing, so it will help out with off-roading. Here's the shifter for the 6-speed automatic. You can shift the gears yourself if you would like. You got a traditional little parking brake, cup holder with some keys to a Toyota Avalon TRD. Just wait, that'll be exciting. Center console right here, opening up, plenty of storage space, and then you can thread the cable through right there with your phone. And then we've got the glove box, decent amount of storage space within the glove box, and then you got some padding just up above that with a couple more vents. We've got some cool tech up top. First, we're gonna go over the rear siding window. So we press that, and then that'll open up the rear siding window. It's just like a little window on, you know, what most trucks have. Toyota usually has the whole window, but this is just regular. Sunroof up here, and then we got some cool controls up here. We've got the locker for the rear, and then you kind of got like your crawl control, off-road cruise control, that kind of stuff. You can function with all these little buttons up here. So most of the off-road tech in this truck, like the functionality on it to like engage it, is actually up here at the top area, which is kind of interesting. Now that we're done going over everything on the interior of the Tacoma TRD Pro, let's talk about pricing. So this particular TRD Pro, before any type of market adjustment, stickers for about $48,000, which for being a top-of-the-line mid-sized truck is still like over $10,000 cheaper than the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. So yeah, pretty interesting there. Anyways, let's take this Tacoma TRD Pro out, see how it drives. Visibility here in the TRD Pro Tacoma. You can see visibility of the hood, really solid right there. Visibility throughout both of the mirrors, and I did forget to mention there is the hood scoop. It does raise the hood up a little bit, but it looks cool. Visibility throughout the rear of the truck, it's pretty easy to see out of. Not as high off the ground as most trucks, so you don't get that like giant king of the road feel, but still really solid. And wait, there we go. Let's set off. Now, initially setting off here in the TRD Pro, let's talk about road noise and ride quality. In terms of road noise, I like the cabin is really well insulated. I do hear a little bit with tire noise, so compared to most other trucks, you are going to hear a little bit more, but it's definitely really good overall. And then in terms of the ride quality, it's really smooth. I mean, I don't have any complaints there. It's definitely a really smooth, solid ride. Now turning here, the steering on it is exceptionally light. Now in terms of directness, it's relatively direct. There is quite a bit of play with the steering, I will mention that. And so definitely take that into account with this, but I mean, it's a truck, and so at the same time, it's also kind of expected. Now we are going to get a little acceleration here with the Tacoma TRD Pro. It's got an okay amount of power through that 6-speed automatic transmission. Like I've said with a lot of the other Toyotas, this 6-speed gets it done, but I mean an 8-speed in this or a 10-speed would be awesome. The V6, I'm going to say it's more than enough power because this is supposed to be an off-road truck and you don't need massive amounts of power. The Jeep Wrangler and Gladiator, and then you've got the Ford Ranger on the other side, Chevy Colorado, they're all pretty similar in terms of power outputs, and this is right up with all of them. And so I feel like it's more than enough, and it's going to be especially more than enough for the off-road use that you'd want to do with this truck. To wrap things up on the Tacoma TRD Pro, what I would say is if you're looking for obviously something that is, you know, kind of a little bit more unique, because there's not a whole lot of TRD Pros out there. Like I said, I've been struggling to be able to get a review with one of these trucks, and you know, price-wise, it's going to be pretty similar to the Ranger and the Colorado, but obviously Toyota has a little bit stronger brand name. In my opinion, the Ranger's close, but not quite as good as what Toyota has built up with the Tacoma. And, you know, it's going to be significantly less money than the Gladiator. Now, I know that the Gladiator comes with 33s from the factory and all that kind of stuff, but those are pretty easy to add onto the truck, or you could even probably add 35s onto it as well. And there's the lane departure assistance, because apparently I don't know how to drive, but, you know, I feel like it's pretty close to the Gladiator Rubicon, but it's a whole lot less money. So if you're in the market for a mid-sized off-road truck, check out the TRD Pro. There we have it, everyone. The all-new 2020 Tacoma TRD Pro. I really like this truck, and kind of like I've mentioned somewhat in the video, I feel like this is a really good value, especially compared to the Gladiator. Yes, I know that the Gladiator, you're buying it because it's a Jeep and because it's cool and all that kind of stuff. However, over $10,000 is over $10,000. Anyways, as always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. And a big shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Toyota here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the TRD Pro. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.